What's going on there, guys? We back with another one, and we got Stephen A. Smith finally responding to Kevin Durant and his accusations against Stephen A. And um, he was saying that Stephen A. gets on TV. He's always talking about players. He never sees them in locker rooms or anywhere. And this goes back to Jalen Brown, talking about his sources and all that, saying they don't see Stephen A. in the locker rooms. Now, one thing I can say is Stephen A. absolutely used to be in the locker rooms and stuff. That's where Big Dog, Glenn Robinson almost stole off on him, right? But you do work your way up the ladder, so you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to do as much uh, locker room reporting, right? Hey, you see, Stephen A. may still do a little sideline reporting and stuff like that, but you do work your way up in the ranks. But even earlier on in Kevin Durant's career, I do remember Stephen A. Smith being at OKC. He was at places like that, around those locker rooms. And this ain't to take up for Stephen A. I'm just making a point with that. But yeah, KD said, I never see you in the locker rooms or anything. And you just on TV bashing players. And so that's what KD said. Now, this is what Stephen A said back.
I got bad news for Kevin Durant. If you're expecting me to reciprocate with that kind of pettiness and childishness, it's not going to happen. Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players to have ever played this game. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's a two-time champion, a two-time league Finals MVP. And I've been on the record saying he's also a good dude. So if he wants to resort to that level, even though we're both grown men, and if he had something to say, he knows my number, and he refrains from doing so, that's what he has to live with. But having said all of that, respectfully, Kevin Durant, could you stop lying, please? I've been an NBA reporter, and I was a columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer as well. Kevin Durant has seen me in the locker room when he was at Oklahoma City. He has seen me in the locker room when he was at Golden State. He has certainly seen me at games throughout his career. But unfortunately for him, I don't have to be at shoot around. And I don't have to be in the post-game locker room. I happen to have a hit show that's been number one for 12 years. I have other things to do with my time. I go to games all the time. I'm not a beat writer anymore. So let's get that out the way. The other thing that I would say is this, respectfully. Kevin Durant is going to have to answer this question. Who's allowed to talk about him? Charles Barkley played this game as a Hall of Famer. He got a Charles Barkley. Shannon Sharp is a Super Bowl champion, a three-time Super Bowl champion, and a Hall of Famer. He got at Shannon. He's gotten at players, the C.J. McCollums of the world, the Dennis Schroeders of the world, and others. He's gotten at fans. And, oh, by the way, did it discreetly because he had, accounts that didn't reveal who he was, okay? So there's a whole bunch of things. So I don't understand it. It's contemporaries and colleagues. It's former players. It's present players. It's the media. It's the fans. It's whomever. Is anyone allowed to talk about Kevin Durant? Anybody at all? Because I don't understand it. I really don't get it. Anybody that has something to say isn't qualified to say something about him. I'm not going to disrespect him. I respect him too much. And I will reiterate to the audience what I said. He is one of the greatest players to have ever played this game. And regardless of his sensitivity and petulance and flagrant immaturity, he also happens to be a very, very good dude. I've always had profound respect for him. I'm the same guy, Kevin Durant, that you asked to show up on your show, The Boardroom. I'm the same guy that you executive produced a documentary on Stephon Marbury and featured me in it. I'm that same guy that you said you don't want anybody to listen to, yet you had me on stuff you executive produced for people to listen to. Now, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I'll have more to say about it, more in depth and more specifically on the Stephen A. Smith Show on YouTube and iHeartRadio this afternoon. I'm not finished at all, but I will not disrespect him the way that he disrespected me. It's unfortunate that no matter how old he gets, his sensitivity seems to heighten with it and his maturity doesn't, but that's something he has to live with. Not me. I respect him. He's a treasure to the game of basketball. I love seeing him play, and I sincerely wish that he doesn't get swept again in the playoffs like he has 2 of the last 3 years.
All right.
Now, this all started with Stephen A. Smith's comment on First Take, questioning Kevin Durant's leadership skills, which I think everyone has kind of questioned at this point. Can he lead a team? Can he be the voice in the locker room? Or is he just someone who you roll the ball out there and he hoops and he leads with his play? But you're going to need a vocal leader at some point. Even if you have a player that leads with their play, you need someone to be the pulse of the locker room, being able to bring guys together when personalities clash and different things like that. And that's been one of the knocks on KD because now we feel like Russell Westbrook may have even done that in OKC in their earlier years, you know. But looking at it, man, it's like uh, Stephen A. and his journalism, right? There's been a lot of people questioning that. You look back and like Kwame Brown, you look back uh, recently with Jalen Brown. You look at some of the other guys, Kyrie Irving, that he's had things to say about, and people may have a position, even when Stephen A. may say something profound or something that may make a little sense. You have people with a disposition already because of some of the things you may have said about Kyrie, and then you said it was personal. Um, with Kyrie at the time, and you and his father, I guess, talked it out or whatever. But that's what you said at the time. So when I look at this, I'm like, yeah, you could see how KD could be offended by Stephen A. Smith. At the same time, Stephen A. does make a point, right? If you saw the Stephon Marbury documentary that he helped produce, he did have Stephen A. in the movie. So why would you even go get him if you always felt like he was a clown? Because y'all have had this love hate relationship. You've been on his show, or he been on your show at one point. Um, since y'all first had issues, since it was the weakest move a superstar has done, joining the Golden State Warriors, but as he continues to do his job and he has takes on you, you pull back. And something I feel like is wrong with KD mentally, and this isn't even specific to Stephen A. Smith. It's just the the fervor that he responds back to people with one follower, no profile pic on X. He'll respond to anybody. And I think just seeing everybody's comment like that is insane because you don't even get all the notifications for people that don't follow you or nothing. I've seen Kevin Durant find tweets with KD in it that don't have him tagged in it. That means he goes up into the search bar, types KD, and then reads until he finds a negative comment about KD. So it don't even be like at KD Trey 5 or whatever his name is on there. It be people just talking about KD, not tagging him, and he finds that comment and he comments on it. So I think something's fundamentally wrong, just with his priorities in that regard, right? And I'm not saying that to look down on him. I'm just saying if you read everything, it'll drive you crazy, right? You can't just sit there and read everything. And you KD at the end of the day, not saying you better than nobody or you're not human, but you can't go looking for that stuff. You can't go deep diving. Now, if you get somebody that's tagging you every now and again, they got a big platform, yeah, clap back at a Stephen A when you feel offended. It's just his just his willingness to clap back at every single person on the planet. That's crazy to me. But yeah, man, let me know what you guys think about KD and Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A., some of the things he's done in journalism and some of the money he may have cost people is the reason they feel the way they feel. At the same time, he's gonna get on first take. He's gonna do what he do. He's gonna do what he do. Uh, and you can expect it. But what I do like is you can clap back at someone like Stephen A. in real time. That I do like because that didn't exist for the player back in the '90s and the early 2000s. It was just a narrative, thrown out there, sources thrown out there, and people run with that. But now you can defend yourself, and that I do like. But I would just say, KD, don't respond to everything. You know what I'm saying? Don't respond to everything and everybody. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Till next time. Peace.